All right, guys. So a lot of you have been asking me, why did I decide to start growing my own food? Well, I'm on the way to picking up my son and there's an accident. So it looks like I got plenty of time since I won't be able to go through this intersection. So basically, I've been growing food, as a hobby for the past 15 years. And in the last few years, I've decided to take it up a notch. And the biggest factor for that, obviously, has been COVID, right? So with COVID, last year, there was a shortage on food, supposedly. I mean, whether I believe that or not is a whole nother story in itself. But that was one of the biggest factors to why I started to take growing my food to another level. If you can remember, these supermarkets were running out of tomatoes, running out of peppers, running out of apples, running out of everything, and obviously COVID has had a huge impact on a lot of our lives, right? And for me, unfortunately, I've taken some positive aspects out of it, which is to full on becomes, self-sustainable and just entirely grow my own food. Now, a positive to it is you can go in your own backyard, pick the food you want, call it a day. You can also help out the people and supply them with food they can rely on, grown organically, through somebody that they actually know. So in 2006, when I decided to grow my first garden on a patio in an apartment complex that I lived in, I remember growing green beans, peas, tomatoes, corn. I was really infatuated with growing corn. And I think those were the only crops that I actually grew on that balcony. And I have pictures somewhere. I don't know where they are, but hopefully I'll be able to find them. And the reason why I started to grow is because, number one, I was curious about how food actually grew. All right, what how long it took, what it actually looked like, what the process was. But not only that, this was around the time that I started to work in healthcare. Now, my first job in healthcare, I was actually a pharmacy tech. So I would always see people come in taking these medications for, the various different illnesses and sicknesses that they may have come upon during their lifetime. And some people obviously are on medications for the rest of their lives. And, as a young man at that time, I think I was like, 21, 22. I'm just like, why are all these people having to take these medications? So I started doing my research, and obviously I started to, to have friends that were, doctors. And I would always ask them a lot of questions. And as a result of that, they would always tell me that a lot of the illnesses could be eliminated if people change their diets. Now, remember that. So there are doctors that do believe in medication. A lot of them themselves take medications because they don't want to change their diet, and they really believe in medicine. And even for me today, I know that a lot of things I can fight against myself with, even the issues that I have, with simply just changing the way that I eat. Now, I'm not gonna say I'm a person that eats 100% perfectly, because I don't. But everything is in moderation, right? Maybe you believe that, maybe you don't. So anyway, healthcare has had a really big impact on the way I see food. You know, there's a saying that goes, let thy food be thy medicine, or thy medicine will become thy food. And I think you can figure out what that means. Now, as I started to, have a career in healthcare, eventually I will move on to becoming an IT professional in the healthcare sector. And I've been doing that for 14 years. In addition to that, I did personal training as well, and I'll kind of talk about that too. But what I learned as I was as I've been in healthcare IT sector, it's been a lot, because I get to look at the data. I get to create these reports. I get to create the the population control report, so I can see the trends that are happening even today. And so, as I'm creating these reports, I'm extracting all of this data, and the number one thing that I see is food. Food is the main ingredient that's killing us today. All right. So, when you're overindulging, when you're adding all these salts, when you're adding all these sugars, when you're adding the chemicals, they're having a big impact on what we're consuming in our bodies. All right. Not only that, when you think about even certain injections, I'm going to use that word, and I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to just say injections. When you're injecting certain things in your body, even as of recent, what, a lot of people have been injecting in their bodies, and I'm not going to listen. You got to do what makes you sleep at night, right? So you got to be comfortable. You got to know you made the right decision for yourself. But even these injections contain things that are, have an impact on our bodies as well, and we wouldn't need them if we had a better diet. All right, so that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to go into the politics, and pretty much that's what healthcare has become. Your politicians are, telling you what you should do as if they are providers, right? So again, that's a whole nother story in itself. But so to circle back to the personal training, even for myself, I learned that the better you eat, the less working out you have to do, right? The better you eat, the less cardio you got to do, the less, weightlifting you have to do. Now, if you just enjoy it, that's fine. But as far as keeping up with your overall health, to keep your bone structure solid, not overusing it, to keep your ligaments, tendon, all intact from not overusing, your diet is the main key to keeping your weight down. All right, your diet is the main key to overall health. Even when it comes to your mental, if you're consuming all of these fast food places, mentally your brain is going to start to deteriorate as well. And that's one thing that I've learned over the years, even again, getting confirmation from the professionals that oversee us, such as doctors as well. All right, so this is the reason why I started growing my own food, for my overall health, my overall wealth. There's another saying that an apple a day keeps the doctor away, which means that if you eat better, you won't have to necessarily go to the doctor as much. You can still do your yearly checkups or whatever, but the way you eat can be a big way of preventative care, all right, such as working out as well. So when I say preventative care, I mean that the more proactive I am with taking my own health in my hands, as far as, brushing my teeth a couple times a day, working out, 4 to 5 times a week, watching what I consume. It all comes hand in hand with my overall health, which entail is going to help you keep your medical bills down, right? So a lot of you are saying that your medical bills are high, and food is high too. Well, if you grow your own food, you won't have to spend as much money on food. But not only that, the healthier you eat, the less money you'll spend in the long run, right? So if you decide to go ahead and keep consuming all these foods that are bad for you, then you're gonna spend more money in the long run. So for me, I figure just grow my own food. I know what I'm consuming. I know what these foods do to my body. I know what they do for me. And so at the end of the day, in the long run, I'm practicing preventative care. I'm taking accountability for my own health. I'm not pointing a finger at anybody. I don't have to, live in a way that is not beneficial for me in the long run. All right. Not only that, I was fortunate enough to see how the older generations before us live. All right. So I have a great grandfather that lived to be almost 101 years old. And whenever I would see him, he always ate the same things. He always ate rice. He always made his own foods. I don't know about growing his own foods, but the foods that I saw him consume were healthy. All right. But not only that, have kids now. I got a family. I gotta, set the foundation, so at the end of the day, I want to live a long and healthy life. As they get older and become adults, they'll have, those choices. And to a degree, they have choices now to what they want to eat. My youngest son, he goes in the backyard almost every day and just takes the food he wants, so you guys can see those pictures for yourself. This is him back here now making noises. So, it's bigger than me. It's about the community. It's about my family. And we want to live healthy and long lives. We don't want to be getting to older ages struggling. Granted, everybody needs help, but hey, you still want a sense of independence as well. So this is why I grow my own food, starting to become a lifestyle. It's a lot of hard work. Like I said, it's fun, it's rewarding, and it keeps me sane,